Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you something that can change your entire life in just 30 days. And it's not a magic bullet. It's not a quick fix. It's a real, honest reset that you do for yourself because you know that the way you've been living isn't enough anymore. This is about giving yourself a shot at something better. Because here's the truth. Most of us are living on autopilot. We wake up, we go through the motions, and we never stop to ask, is this the life I actually want? This 30-day reset isn't about adding more to your plate. It's about stripping away the noise, getting clear, and reconnecting with what matters to you. It's about rewriting the script you've been living by. For the next 30 days, I want you to stop doing things that drain you and start doing things that build you. Stop telling yourself you're too busy to take care of yourself. Stop telling yourself it's too late. It's not, I promise you. It is not too late. But you have to be willing to get uncomfortable. You have to be willing to break your patterns. Think about it. Every single habit you have right now, every way you talk to yourself, every decision you make, every excuse you lean on, it's shaping the direction of your life. If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. So this reset, it's about changing that trajectory. It's about saying, I'm done settling for less. I'm done playing small. Now, let's be real. You're going to have days where you don't feel like showing up, days when you want to quit, and that's okay. You're not going to feel motivated every single day, but you don't need to feel motivated to do the work. You need to decide that you're worth the effort, even when it's hard. For 30 days, I want you to do 3 things. Number 1, I want you to start your day with intention. No more scrolling on your phone the minute you wake up. No more letting the world set the tone for your day. You take 5 minutes for yourself. You breathe. You journal. You move your body. You get clear about what matters to you. Because how you start your day is how you build momentum. Number 2, I want you to take one small action every single day that moves you toward the life you actually want. I'm not talking about overhauling your whole life in one swoop. I'm talking about one action, no matter how small. Because small actions done consistently are what change your life. One push-up today becomes 10 tomorrow. One honest conversation today becomes a habit of truth-telling. One small win every day is how you build the life you're meant to live. And number 3, I want you to celebrate yourself. I don't care how small the win is. You celebrate it. Because most of us are so hard on ourselves. We spend all day thinking about what we didn't do, what we should have done, and that kills your momentum. I want you to flip that script. I want you to see the progress you're making. Because when you focus on what's working, you build confidence, and confidence is what fuels action. This 30-day reset is going to test you. It's going to push you to look at the things you've been avoiding. It's going to force you to get honest with yourself, but that's the point. Because when you stop pretending and start getting real about what you want, real about what's holding you back, everything changes. You're not going to feel ready. You're not going to feel like you have it all figured out. But you don't have to. You just have to start. Start messy. Start scared. But start. Because every single day you show up for yourself, you're building trust in yourself. You're proving to yourself that you're capable of so much more than you ever believed. So let me ask you this. What would your life look like if, for the next 30 days, you gave it everything you've got? What would happen if you stopped telling yourself you can't and started proving to yourself that you can? What if you finally gave yourself permission to stop surviving and start living? This is your shot. This is your moment. And I promise you, if you commit to these next 30 days, you will see a difference. You'll feel stronger. You'll feel clearer. And most importantly, you'll know deep down that you're in charge of your life. So let's do this. Let's take the next 30 days and make them count. Let's stop talking about change and start living it. You're not here to be average. You're here to be unstoppable. Let's go. It's easy to get swept up in the idea that to change your life in 30 days, you need to take massive radical action. But that's a lie. The real power lies in small, intentional steps that build momentum every single day. You see, most people think they have to change everything at once to see results. They sign up for every challenge, read every book, and try to overhaul every habit overnight. And what happens? They burn out. They get overwhelmed, they quit.
The truth is, transformation is never about doing everything perfectly. It's about showing up even when you're tired, even when you don't feel ready, and doing that one small thing that moves you forward. It's about taking ownership of your energy and your decisions every single day. It's about understanding that the small choices you make, the tiny habits you commit to, compound over time. That's how you create a life you're proud of. One step, one day at a time. I want you to think about it like this. If you're driving a car and you turn the wheel even 1 degree to the left over time, you end up in a completely different place than if you kept going straight. That's what small, daily actions do. They reroute your path, they shift the direction of your life, and if you stay committed to that shift, you end up in a place you never imagined possible. So, what does that look like in real life? It looks like getting up 10 minutes earlier in the morning and taking a deep breath before the chaos of your day starts. It looks like turning your phone off for an hour so you can actually focus on what matters to you. It looks like writing down your goals every morning so you never forget what you're working toward. These small actions are easy to dismiss. They don't feel big enough to change anything, but they do. Because each one is a tiny vote for the future you want. Here's the thing, your brain loves patterns, it loves comfort, it loves the familiar. So when you try to do something new, something uncomfortable, your brain's first instinct is to pull you back to what it knows. It'll tell you to stay in bed, to skip the workout, to wait until tomorrow, but here's the magic. When you take that small action, even when you don't feel like it, you're teaching your brain a new story. You're proving to yourself that you're the kind of person who shows up, and over time, that's what builds confidence. That's what builds resilience. You don't need to run a marathon on day one. You don't need to meditate for an hour or write a novel in a week. You need to do one small thing that reminds you that you're in charge, because that's what this 30-day reset is really about. It's about reclaiming control over your life. It's about refusing to let your habits and your fears make your decisions for you. And that starts with the smallest, simplest steps. It's also about removing the idea that you need to be perfect. Perfection is a myth, and honestly, it's a trap, because perfection keeps you stuck. It keeps you playing small because you're too afraid to start if you can't guarantee you'll do it perfectly. But let me tell you, progress is what changes your life, not perfection. So every time you show up, even if you're messy, even if you're stumbling, that's a win. And those wins stack up. They compound. They turn into unstoppable momentum. Another piece of this is understanding that these small steps aren't just about checking a box. They are about shifting your identity. When you do something every day, no matter how small, you start to see yourself differently. You stop thinking of yourself as someone who can't and start seeing yourself as someone who does. That shift in identity is where the real magic happens. Because once you start to believe in yourself, you stop waiting for permission and start taking action. It's okay if you're scared. It's okay if you're not sure how it's going to work out. The only thing that matters is that you decide to start. That you decide to show up day after day with the belief that these small steps are worth it. Because they are. Every single one is a seed you're planting for the life you want to live. And don't underestimate how much these small steps matter. Because 30 days from now, you could be in a completely different place than you are right now. Not because you changed everything at once, but because you decided to take one small step every day, no matter what. You decided to be intentional. You decided that your future matters enough to put in the effort, even when it's hard. So as you step into this 30-day reset, remember this. It's not about massive action. It's about small, consistent action. It's about building trust in yourself, one tiny step at a time. You're not here to prove anything to anyone else. You're here to prove to yourself that you're worth it, that your life matters enough to fight for. And that's what these 30 days are all about. One of the most powerful lessons I've learned is that every single day is a vote for the person you're becoming. Let that sink in for a moment. Every day, every decision, every small habit, it is a ballot you're casting for the life you want to create. You don't have to wait for some perfect moment or some huge turning point to start shaping your life, because every single day you have that opportunity, and that's why this 30-day reset is so transformative. It's a chance to take control of the story you're writing for yourself. Most of us don't realize how much power we have in our daily choices. We think that big changes require big actions, but that's not how it works. It's the small decisions, choosing to eat a little healthier, choosing to move your body even when you don't feel like it, choosing to have that tough conversation or take that leap of faith. Those small moments are the ones that add up to real transformation. It's not about what you do once in a while. It's about what you do consistently. And that's what I want you to focus on for these next 30 days, consistency over intensity. Because when you show up every day and make those small choices, you're building something bigger than you can see in the moment. You're building momentum. You're training your brain to trust yourself. You're telling yourself that your future matters enough to work for it, even when you're not in the mood, and that's where real change begins. Let's get clear. These daily choices are not just about checking a box. They're about building an identity. When you consistently do the things that align with who you want to be, you start to believe in yourself on a whole new level. You're not just talking about your goals anymore. You're living them. You're not just dreaming about what you want. You're proving to yourself that you can create it. This is where most people get stuck. They want to feel motivated before they start. They want to feel ready. But let me tell you the truth, you're never going to feel 100% ready. Motivation is fleeting. If you wait for it, you're going to spend your whole life waiting. The only thing that matters is your decision to start. Because action breeds clarity, not the other way around. When you take that first step, no matter how small, you create momentum, and that momentum is what carries you forward. Here's what's really exciting. Once you start showing up consistently, you start to see results. Maybe it's not immediate, maybe it's not dramatic, but you'll start to notice that you feel a little bit stronger, a little bit more confident, a little bit more in control of your life and those tiny wins. They're like rocket fuel for your self-belief. Because when you see that you can keep a promise to yourself, you start to realize that you're capable of so much more than you thought. That's why this 30-day reset isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about proving to yourself that you don't need everything to be perfect to get started. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to take that first step, and then the next one, and the next one. That's how you build a life that lights you up. That's how you become the kind of person who doesn't just talk about what they want. They make it happen. I want you to remember this when it gets hard, because it will get hard. You're going to have days where you don't feel like it, days when it feels pointless, days when you want to throw in the towel, but that's exactly when it matters most to keep going. Because every time you show up when you don't want to, you're proving to yourself that you're in charge of your life. You're taking back your power from the excuses and the self-doubt. Think about the people you admire, people who are strong, focused, and successful. I promise you, they didn't get there by doing one huge thing. They got there by making small, consistent choices that aligned with their values and their goals. And that's what you're doing in this reset. You're taking back control. You're casting your votes every day for the life you want to create. So here's my challenge to you. For the next 30 days, I want you to focus on one small action every day. Just one, something that aligns with the future you want, and I want you to do it consistently, no matter what, because those daily actions, they're the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. They're the foundation for the kind of life you're meant to live. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to decide that you're worth the effort, because you are. In these 30 days, they're your chance to prove that to yourself, one day at a time, one small choice at a time. That's how you build the life you deserve. That's how you become unstoppable. And it all starts with the small, consistent actions you choose to take today. The magic of this 30-day reset is that it gives you permission to let go of the weight you've been carrying, the weight of old habits, old stories, and old patterns that keep you stuck. We all have them, those behaviors and beliefs that feel safe and familiar, even though they're not serving us. And that's the real secret. Most of the things that are holding us back aren't external. They're the stories we tell ourselves about who we are and what we're capable of. That's why this 30-day journey isn't just about taking action. It's about rewriting those stories and creating space for something new. When you decide to reset your life, you're not just changing what you do, you're changing how you see yourself. You're breaking up with the idea that you're not good enough or too far gone or not ready, because those stories, they're lies. They're just excuses your brain has built to keep you safe, and if you're not careful, they'll keep you in the same place forever. But here's the beautiful thing. When you start taking daily action, you start proving those stories wrong. You start building a new narrative, one that says, I can change, I am capable, I am worthy of more. This reset is about reclaiming your power. It's about realizing that you don't have to keep living out old patterns that don't feel right anymore. You get to decide what your life looks like. You get to decide what kind of person you want to be. And it doesn't have to be some massive, overnight transformation. It starts with the small, daily choices you make to honor yourself and your dreams. Because every time you do that, every time you show up for yourself, you're rewriting the story of your life. You know what's really holding most people back? It's not their circumstances or their resources. It's the fear of stepping into something new. It's the fear of the unknown. Because even if your habits are making you miserable, they're familiar. They're comfortable, they're predictable, and our brains love predictability. But comfort zones are dangerous. They keep you stuck. They keep you living small. They keep you trading your potential for a false sense of security. And that's why this reset is so powerful, because it asks you to step outside of that comfort zone, to choose the discomfort of growth over the ease of staying the same, to choose to believe that there's something bigger waiting for you if you're willing to do the work. And that's not always easy. Growth can be messy. It can be scary. It can feel like you're taking a leap without knowing where you'll land. But let me tell you something. Every single time you choose growth, you're choosing to live in alignment with your purpose. You're choosing to honor the potential that's inside you. So how do you do that? You start by getting honest with yourself. You start by asking, what patterns am I holding onto that aren't serving me? What habits are keeping me stuck? And you don't beat yourself up for them. You just get curious, you get clear, and then you start to take small, consistent action to change them, because you can't change what you're not willing to see. And when you're brave enough to look at the truth of your life, you open the door to something new. This reset is about more than just goals. It's about self-awareness. It's about taking responsibility for the way you've been living and deciding that you're ready for more. It's about realizing that you don't have to let your past define you. You don't have to let your fears control you. You get to choose, and that's the most empowering thing you can do. The reason this matters so much is because the stories you tell yourself shape everything. If you keep telling yourself that you're not capable, you'll never take the action to prove yourself wrong. If you keep telling yourself that change is too hard, you'll never give yourself the chance to see how strong you really are. But when you start telling yourself a new story, one that says, I am worthy of growth, I am capable of change, I am resilient, everything starts to shift. That's what I want for you in this 30-day reset, to let go of the lies you've been carrying and replace them with the truth of your potential. Because you are so much stronger than you think. You are capable of creating a life that feels good, that feels true, that feels like it's yours. But it starts with the small, daily actions. It starts with showing up for yourself, even when it's hard. Even when you're scared, even when you're not sure how it's all going to turn out. Because here's the truth. The only way to build a life you love is to do the work every day, to choose to believe in yourself every day, to keep taking those small steps, even when they don't feel like they're adding up, because they are. Every single one is a brick in the foundation of the life you're building. So as you move through this reset, I want you to remember that the real transformation isn't just in what you're doing. It's in who you're becoming. It's in the way you're rewriting your story. It's in the way you're choosing to believe in yourself one small step at a time. That's how you create change that lasts. That's how you create a life that's truly yours. The journey of self-transformation doesn't happen by accident. It happens through intention. And the real power of this 30-day reset is that it gives you a chance to build a new foundation of intention in your life. So many of us live on autopilot. We get up, go through the motions, handle our responsibilities, and maybe even chase a few dreams. But we're not really living with intention. We're reacting to life instead of creating it. But when you commit to showing up every day for 30 days, you're saying, I'm no longer just reacting. I'm creating. I'm taking charge. This is about making conscious choices that honor who you want to be. It's about asking yourself, what do I want my life to look like? Who do I want to be at the end of this month? What habits, thoughts, and patterns do I need to let go of to get there? And then it's about making those small, daily choices that align with that vision. Because here's the truth, your life isn't going to magically change overnight. It's not about waiting for some big break or perfect opportunity. It's about choosing over and over again to live with intention. Most of us underestimate how powerful those small, intentional choices are. We think they're too small to matter, but I promise you, they're everything. When you choose to start your day with gratitude instead of worry, that's a vote for the life you want. When you choose to say no to something that doesn't align with your goals, that's a vote for your future. When you choose to spend 5 minutes in silence, journaling your thoughts or breathing deeply, that's a vote for your peace. And those votes, they add up. They create a life that feels purposeful instead of aimless. That's why this reset isn't about rigid rules or perfection. It's about learning to tune into yourself, to listen to what feels right, to notice when you're acting out of habit instead of intention, because so often we're doing things just because we've always done them, not because they're serving us. This reset is your chance to pause and ask, is this really what I want? Is this really who I want to be? And if the answer is no, you get to choose something different. One of the biggest shifts you'll feel during these 30 days is a sense of ownership over your life. Because when you start making those intentional choices, you start to realize that you're in control. You're not at the mercy of your circumstances. You're not stuck in your old patterns. You have the power to create something new, and that ownership, that's freedom. That's where real confidence comes from. Not from waiting for permission, but from deciding that you're worth the effort it takes to create a life you love. Let me be real with you. Living with intention doesn't mean everything will be easy. It doesn't mean you won't have days where you slip back into old patterns or feel like giving up. It means you're willing to keep coming back to your intention over and over again. It means you're willing to say today, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to take one small step, even if it doesn't feel like much, because my future is worth it. I'm worth it. That's the energy that fuels real transformation. Not the all or nothing mindset, not the idea that you have to be perfect or never make a mistake, but the mindset that says, I'm committed to progress, I'm committed to growth, I'm committed to showing up for myself, even when it's uncomfortable. Because that's how you build resilience. That's how you build a life that feels like it's yours instead of something you're just surviving. Living with intention also means getting really clear about your why. Why are you doing this reset? Why are you showing up every day even when it's hard? Because if you don't have a clear reason, something that lights a fire in your gut, it's going to be so easy to quit when things get tough. Your why is what pulls you forward when your motivation fades. It's what reminds you that you're not just doing this for the sake of a challenge. You're doing it because you believe you're capable of more. So let me ask you, what's your why? Why does it matter to you to show up every day for 30 days? Why does it matter to you to live with intention? Get honest with yourself, write it down, put it somewhere you'll see it every day, because when you have a clear why, you have an anchor that will hold you steady when life tries to pull you off course. Here's what I know for sure. When you live with intention, you become unstoppable because you're not just drifting, you're deciding, you're not just reacting, you're creating, and that changes everything. It's not about whether you're perfect, it's about whether you're committed, whether you're willing to keep showing up for yourself day after day, choice after choice, even when it's hard. That's what this reset is about. That's what living with intention is about, and that's what will change your life. The final piece of this 30-day reset is about one of the most important and overlooked elements of real, lasting change: community and accountability. Because let's be honest, trying to make significant shifts all by yourself can feel overwhelming, even impossible. We're human, and humans thrive on connection. We need others to help us see our blind spots, to encourage us when we're tired, and to remind us why we started in the first place. And when you bring other people into your reset journey, everything changes. You're no longer just carrying the weight alone. You're creating a circle of support that can hold you up and call you forward. One of the biggest reasons people give up on their goals is because they try to go it alone. They think they have to do it perfectly, all by themselves, and if they mess up, they're failing. But the truth is, we're wired for community. We're wired to lean on others and to offer that same strength back. When you share your journey with people you trust, people who believe in you, it creates this beautiful cycle of accountability and inspiration. It's no longer just about you, it's about what you're building together. Community doesn't mean you have to broadcast your entire life to everyone you know. It means finding the right people, people who lift you up, who challenge you, who won't let you shrink back into your old patterns. And sometimes those people aren't even in your immediate circle. Maybe it's an online group, maybe it's a mentor or a coach, maybe it's one friend who's also committed to growth. It doesn't matter how big or small that community is. What matters is that it's filled with people who see the real you and are willing to stand with you as you grow. During this 30-day reset, I want you to think about who those people are in your life. Who are the voices you're listening to? Are they voices that encourage you to be better, or voices that keep you stuck? Because the people you surround yourself with will shape how you see yourself. If you're around people who are always complaining or stuck in negativity, that energy will rub off on you. But if you're around people who are focused on growth, possibility, and hope, that's the energy you'll start to embody too. There's something really powerful about having someone else know your goals. When you tell someone what you're committed to for these 30 days, it makes it real. It's no longer just a quiet wish in your head. It's a declaration. And that declaration, it's a spark, because now someone else is counting on you to show up, and that creates a level of accountability that's hard to ignore. It's like saying to the world, I'm serious about this. I'm not just hoping for change. I'm committed to making it happen. And let's be honest, there will be days when you want to quit. Days when the old habits feel easier, when the fear of change feels bigger than the promise of what's possible. That's when your community matters most. Those are the days when you need someone to say, I see you, I believe in you, keep going. Because that reminder can be the difference between giving up and pushing through. It can be the lifeline that pulls you back to your intention when your motivation is running low. But community isn't just about what you get. It's also about what you give. When you're part of a circle that's focused on growth, you're not just receiving support, you're offering it too. You're becoming a mirror for someone else's potential. You're showing them what's possible when you keep showing up. And there's nothing more powerful than that, because when you see someone else's journey, their struggles, their triumphs, their small wins, it reminds you that you're not alone. It reminds you that transformation is possible for you, too. So as you move through these 30 days, don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to ask for help or to share your wins and your struggles. That's how you build real connection. That's how you create the kind of accountability that lasts, because this journey isn't just about getting to the end of 30 days. It's about creating a foundation for the rest of your life. And the foundation you build with others is so much stronger than anything you can build alone. Here's the truth. You don't have to be perfect to be worthy of support. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be willing to show up, willing to say, this is hard, but I'm not giving up. Willing to let someone else see you in the messy middle of growth, because that vulnerability, that's where the magic happens. That's where real change starts to take root. So as you take these final steps in your reset, let this be your mantra. I am stronger when I'm supported. I am braver when I'm seen. I am more resilient when I'm part of something bigger than myself. And when you carry that energy into every choice, every day, you'll find that what felt impossible at the start becomes something you're living, breathing proof of. That's how this 30-day reset becomes more than just a challenge. It becomes a movement. A movement that starts with you, but grows into something that can change your entire life.